Hello, and welcome to Breath and Voice Chronicles with me, Sophia Maya, and my dear friend, Igor Siberia. How are you today, Igor?
Hi everybody. Yes, I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about the current state of energy in on the planet. And I've had a very interesting week energetically. I've been dealing with a lot of exhaustion, a lot of really strange sensations, and things. So I'm really curious to know how you've been feeling and how you feel like might be affecting you, and to just kind of take it from there because I think there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, yeah. No, last 3 days were massive, and I still going through it right now, and it really knocked me out on all levels: physical, mental, and emotional. At the level that I just put me all the way to the ground earth, that I just could not operate and do anything. And it's interesting that it all came out of the blue, and I never have ever experienced on this level before. And it started with it's kind of like a flu symptoms, but then I'm like haven't been anywhere to get a flu from because I've been mostly just the same routine, and with my healthy lifestyle, I haven't been sick for like years. As because I really feel when it comes, and like my body give a certain like sensations, my back start itching, and I usually take care of it like within an evening. I drink something like hot and honey, some natural remedies, and that came like without any symptoms before, and it just started with a runny nose, and then next day a huge like massive
Mm.
headache that I really have to like lay down, and I couldn't process anything. It's like I really can only get in the void, like zero. I couldn't think about anything. I just have to be like remain still. The moment I move or try to do anything or like get up even to get food, it's like I start feeling the bounce of it on on me. And so that was I definitely all this physical sensations, and I knew that is the time to um, not just to go inwards. I take this always as a message to slow down, but this slow down was to stop. It's crazy. And also kind of like allow myself to fully recalibrate and like release all the toxins that my body accumulated from where I came from, because it really felt like my body been purging through all the sneezes, coughing, and sweating. Like few last couple nights, like I wake up wet, and I'm even right now my body is sweating still. So it's like continuing this process of releasing all of that.
Wow. Yeah, it's so funny how, you and I were talking a few days ago just briefly about how we've been feeling, and I was telling you how I was going through some really strange things energetically, and I received some information about through my social media about the current celestial uh, status, I guess, and how powerful it has been over the last week or so. And there was a pink full moon a week or two weeks ago, I think, and it kicked off this really incredible energetic cycle. And I think a lot of people might be feeling this and not really be aware of what they're feeling. But you mentioned the headache, and I had a very slight headache for a couple of days, the runny nose, and I had congestion, alternating between congestion and a runny nose. And it was just out of the blue. I didn't have any other symptoms. I didn't really feel sick. That went on for a few days, and then the exhaustion hit me, and I got to the point where I had to lie down several times during the day just to get through the day. But I understood that I was going through something transformative, and I think that people don't realize. these energetic cycles, especially these major or rare events like a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse, the pink moon, things like that, they bring in cycles of energy that affect all of us. And it can be very transformational if we can embrace it instead of trying to medicate it or fight it. And a lot of times, and you mentioned this earlier, it's just our higher self or the universe, whatever you want to call it, telling us to slow down and then to take in and integrate what we're receiving. The headache, I was made aware, is related to the crown chakra. And the crown chakra, excuse me, is our direct channel to the universe. It is where we receive information into our body. And if we're open and coherent, that information travels through all of our chakras in harmony, and that harmonizing energy recalibrates our body at a higher vibration. There's so much going on
And I
with
want to
these.
add in the topic of the headache, I was texting with my really good old friend. She said something really cool, like a whole higher perspective of what is headache is, that I just pulled this up. I really want to just read it. She said that um, she's so headaches is a panic attacks of the mind, and it cannot clench anymore onto any stories. So we're releasing the story of the mind that creates illusions and fantasy of separation. And I thought that that's just very relevant. All these old stories in our head that we sometimes even become unconscious are being just released. And that's the density of that energy creates that headache.
Absolutely. That's a gorgeous representation of what's going on. And I was made to understand something very similar, that I'm receiving a large amount of energy, and the headache is a reaction to that too. It's whether it's releasing or integrating, it's in a receiving mode. And our brains are basically receivers. We don't really think anything original. We receive information, we receive energy, and it gets processed through the mind depending on the perception, and then into the body depending on the coherence of the chakras and all these things. And it really can get terribly skewed and cause us to be fearful or panic or even feel dread. Or if we relax, and this is something I think it might be important to say out loud to people who might be feeling these types of symptoms, if we just relax into them and allow them to be and surrender to them, which I think you said to me earlier, it
Yeah.
allows the body to take the time and space that it needs to integrate that energy. And then that energy becomes part of our power system. It becomes part of our ability to transmute negative energy. It becomes part of our higher wisdom. It delivers so many benefits. And I think that we become afraid when we feel something unusual. And I am the poster child for feeling unusual things. I mean, if you listen to my podcast and some of my episodes, I had some wild energetic experiences, some that actually knocked me out, like literally. And it can be really confusing when you may have an idea, maybe an intuitive idea, that something is going on, something spiritual, but your brain is saying, red alert, let's go get medication, let's go to the doctor, let's avoid how we feel so we don't have to be uncomfortable. And I think that's where we go wrong a lot of times, is we don't allow ourselves to just truly feel what is entering our bodies, and we don't understand that we're blocking something extraordinary. And especially during this time right now, where we're going through a very powerful ascension period for all humanity. The earth is ascending. We are her babies, so we are ascending with her. And we either fight the ascension through not agreeing with it, or through trying to struggle with it, or deny it, or we accept it and receive it in with a gracious attitude, and then we can truly recover quickly, and then we're integrated with all these new benefits. So I think it's hard for people to maybe understand that something beyond their understanding may be going on.
Yeah, yeah, because we can, like a lot of people conditioned to think differently instead of just feeling and just allowing your body to process what's came in your world. And like I just say on my example that I knew that this is a time to just honor it. And first, is rest. Give myself as much rest as I can, as needed, whenever I want it. Just rest. Is that could be just laying down, meditating, sleeping, wherever is serving the most, the best. Second is staying hydrated. I've been drinking not just water, but I use a nettle tea that just you steep with. You just put cold water in this tea, and it releases a lot of minerals there, like calcium, magnesium, very natural, healthy, kind of like another liquid. However, you just staying hydrated, that's what's more important. And yeah, and then just give it a time. It takes, depending on how severe that is. Like in your example, it was a little bit less. In my example, it was like kind of like massive. And so I have to like give literally like 2 or 3 days to just uh, rest, because and then once the body release all the toxins, it's naturally coming back to balance itself out. So
Right.
our body is a healing machine. It has all the necessary tools to heal itself naturally. Like back in the days, there was none of that, and so they were just going through it. And wherever symptoms we have, are just coughing, sneezing, or even flu, or even fever, it just takes a few days for body to process, and to fully rebalance yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is probably a time for, we've gone so far technologically, we've gone so far to increase our comforts. We no longer live on the ground. We live in tall buildings and artificial environments and things like that. And we don't realize that when we disconnect so completely from nature, that our bodies are really robbed of their ability to connect to an energetic source, which is the earth, in order to calibrate healing. And it's such a natural thing. I remember this story that I heard a while ago, and I think it might have been from the movie Earthing. And I'm not going to remember the gentleman's name, but it's on Gaia TV. I think it's called the Earthing movie. And he was talking about a little girl when he was young who got very, very ill. She was a Native American girl. He lived out in the western states, in the United States, and he was near a reservation. And this young girl got sick. They took her to the doctors, Western medicine. They did all they could for her, and they just told her there's nothing more that they can do, and that they need to just let whatever happens happen. They didn't have any hope really for her to survive it. And when she got home, her tribe did what they do. They dug a deep hole in the ground, and they laid the little girl in the hole, and they left her there for a few days and let the earth do what the earth does to all the living organisms that she gives birth to. And we are one of those things. We are a naturally occurring organism on earth. And we may not be planted in the ground, but we need the same nourishment and nutrients and energetic connection as a tree does. So within a few days of monitoring her, but just allowing her to lie in the ground, she began to get better. And then, of course, she healed completely. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that these events happen to teach people, to remind people that the earth and our bodies are 1000% capable of self-healing if we stay connected to the healing source, which is our energetic mother, which is the earth. So I think this is a time, and I see a lot of social media about this as well, where people are being reminded that we are not meant to live in high rises and surrounded by cement and glass in artificial environments, because it's to our own demise that we're doing that. And to really understand that the body is very intelligent. It knows how to heal itself. It knows how to transmute negative energy. It knows how to receive this higher ascending energy that we are getting through these cyclical celestial events and solar events and all these other things. We have to really just remember again that we're self healers. We don't need all of the medications and the belief systems that we can't survive unless we are connected to medication or a constant rotation in and out of the doctor's offices.
Yeah, I want to add that that's one another thing that I also do daily, to go on a walk in the nature,
Yeah.
and I would lay on the ground, because it does feels there's something like happening in those moments, and processes and healing. And even like touching the soil has so many different microorganisms. Like that story, very fascinating that you shared. And I do see how that can um, heal some disease, because of how many microorganisms in the soil, and just connecting to the earth with the energy that she carries from lava and rivers and streams and the ocean, and all of that combined together, coming in there. Because especially when you stay there for a little longer, so that allows like to feel you, to see you, to kind of like
Right.
see what you needed. Because we have another episode, we talk how trees communicate with each other, right? And they send in each other certain um, elements to help to support each other. And the same, I feel like trees and the earth can do for humans. If the humans will allow that to happen, that means that if we are will show up and touch the ground.
Right.
And something I also noticing, when like something like this happening in celestial, there's always something astrological. And I did post it on Facebook to find out if anybody else, out of curiosity, if anybody else going through something like that. And I got many comments, of people navigating some weird, unusual physical discomfort symptoms that all came out of the blue. One of the friend like threw his bag. Another person feeling like anxiety. Like unusual, something that they don't have it on a regular basis. It's like last few days, it was just a variety of comments that just reminded me. And that's the reason, that was my intention to post, to be reminded that we all going through it. Because a lot of us just isolated, and if we have
Mm.
some people who has a partner, they at least can kind of like chat with each other. Some people are single and just feeling, when that happens to you, that happens only for you. But when you zone out from like yourself, you actually be surprised and find out that what you're going through right now, there's hundreds of thousands of people going through something similar. And the same time, they might have different symptoms, but they all being forced to slow down or just do nothing. Or it's because it's the time of just receiving the new information, like recalibration. It's the time to just to create a space for that to happen.
Right. And you were saying earlier that sometimes, we're made to really just sit down and shut up. So we get hit with something that knocks us out, and we can't do anything. We can't keep our hurried schedules. We can't keep our mind racing, and it's just a reminder really to be more present in our lives. And I know people say this all the time. I'm even annoyed that I said it, honestly, about presence, but it's such a crucial thing, because it really is our body. If we listen to our body tells us everything we need to know. This is something that I had to learn over the last few years, because I was always driven by my mind. What am I thinking? How does that affecting how I feel? Then what choice do I make? And I was always concerned about not doing enough, about not being productive enough, by not I have to prove myself by doing more than everyone else. And I have to make sure that I am always on my toes, and I don't take too many breaks. And I thought that that was the way I had to live in order to be successful. And what I had to learn through being literally knocked on my caboose, at the beginning of my transformational period, or my awakening, for almost 4 years ago now, is that you have to stop, and you have to really allow your body to, you have to learn the language of your body, first of all. And then when you start to understand what your body's telling you, you start to naturally respond to make sure you take care of your body. And this mitigates illness, it mitigates confusion about how you're feeling. And then your awareness starts to expand, and then you start to have an understanding that you are a molecular structure that is being guided by the energies of the universe, that you are being absolutely affected, all of your biologic, by the universal energies. There's nothing else in between you and that, except for our brain, where we think we understand, and then we try to do things to either avoid it or to cope with it. And we miss the whole opportunity to become coherent with it and to really receive it as the gift that it is. And I think this is really important, especially now, because we are going through such a powerful ascension period, the earth. And this ascension is affecting every life form. And we are, a life form here. And our systems are responding to this energy. And the reaction in our body is what our body's telling us to do. So if we're ignoring the need to rest or the need to uh, clear our minds and our hearts and our bodies of debris, then what we're doing is literally running ourselves into the ground, burning ourselves out, and not understanding why we don't have the energy or the will to go on and to live a full, textured, vibrant life. It's such a simple thing that nobody gets it. It's like, when something's right in front of you and you can't see it, this is exactly what this is. And I lived 58 years plus not seeing it either. And but now it's absolutely so clear. My body is the boss. Whatever she says goes. So I don't care what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. Whatever she tells me is the truth, and I respond only to that anymore. And it's extraordinary how that opens you up to your intuition and heartfelt desire versus brain driven uh, drama. It's just an extraordinary process to go through and to understand at the other end of it, and to be able to share your perspective, which is something I think people don't really hear a lot of.
Yeah, definitely. Body is so
Yeah.
intelligent and
Yeah.
always give us an opportunity and signals, as long as we give an opportunity to listen. And quite
Right.
often, with all responsibilities, people kind of like overlook those signals, and quite often people ignore it until it gets really bad, and
Hmm.
until it gets to the point that actually like knocks you out in some ways, that you're like, all right, I have
Yeah.
to really stop everything. So um, encouragement to be more like listening more to the body and what it says. All the signals are directly connected to all the unprocessed emotions that's happening in the body as well. And
Yeah.
so quite often, if we accumulate a certain emotion, or like it's unprocessed on a daily basis, and somebody feel frustrated on a daily basis, so it's gonna find a physical representation in the body, and it could be like a discomfort in a random place, like lower back or like left leg, you know. And they're like, what is that discomfort in my left leg? And so
Hmm.
it's time to start questioning and see what emotion that could be connected to, and see what are some negative emotions that are present on a regular basis, and uh, how to overcome them through different modalities, practices, and through the breath. One of the best and simplest ways that accessible we all have in our body, just to, it's not just to breathe how we normally breathe, but that's kind of like a different techniques that have been given to process your certain emotions or any like physical pain.
Yeah, and that's a great reminder too, because I mean, you've made your life's work about breath, and that's how extraordinarily crucial it is to, I mean, not just to keep our bodies alive. I mean, the breathing in and out. It is another instrument within our body that, if we learn how to use it, and you've taught me so much about this, because I notice when I'm sitting, and especially when I'm feeling stressed from some energetic unseen source that is affecting my body, that I remember that, and I remember to stop and just to breathe deeply and to really be intentional. And it shifts my energy, it recenters me and allows me to really relax into what is happening. And I think that's probably the thing that I want to make sure that people understand that, no matter how you feel these energetic shifts or these even transformational phases that we go through when these celestial cycles take place, especially these rare ones, we worry that something else is wrong, and we want to instantaneously go to the brain to fix it. And we have so many tools, and the breath is just an extraordinary one that is always available, always accessible. And what's needed with anything that we're doing in this new 5D energy is intention. You can't like fake your way through it. You have to really intend to be healthier, stronger, more connected. And with that intention, the universe or your higher self says, "Oh, this one's paying attention. Let's help them out." And you attract the help that you need. And it's just extraordinary. And we could talk for a week about that, but the breath is such a crucial tool.
And that all the negative emotions that you might feel in the moment on a regular basis, they directly affecting how you breathe, and your
Right,
breath becoming shallow. And so, like when we experience any panic attack or anxiousness, we start
right,
breathing short and fast, and
right.
that's a natural body response, right? And so here in this moment you can change everything for you and support yourself, and how, depending on the situation of course, but still you can support yourself tremendously by consciously bringing a deeper breath and bringing the natural rhythm of breathing back to your body, and that would activate your parasympathetic system that will help you to regulate your nervous system back to more calm, peaceful state to rebalance yourself.
Yeah, that's such great advice. And I love this connection because it always comes back to the breath. I mean, it always comes back to the body and the body's natural ability to not only heal itself, but to release toxins and to keep the body healthy, keep the systems healthy and coherent. There's so much going on there. And I think that awareness of that, and that we don't need to necessarily medicate every time we don't feel well, and we don't need to hide from how we feel if we accept it with intention and allow it the space and surrender to it that it needs. We are taken through a process that the body experiences that is really extraordinary. And if we allow ourselves to feel it and to go through that process without fighting it or covering it up with medications, and I'm not saying medication is unnecessary. I would never say that. All I'm saying is there's so many natural mechanisms in the body that are designed to heal. I mean, the new man didn't have CVS pharmacies, and urgent cares on every corner. This has become a way of life. It's not necessarily necessary. And I think people just get caught up in the system, and they don't understand there's another way, that the body is naturally tuned into the earth and to the universe, and naturally designed to transmute negative or toxins from the body, negative energy or toxins, and to integrate uh, good energy, healing, ascending energy. It is an absolutely extraordinary machine. And I think that if anything, that's what I really want to make sure people hear, that it's okay not to feel well. But when our first thought is to medicate and not to maybe use our breath, or not to pause, or not to lie down and just allow ourselves to lean into it, lean into it. Don't fight it. You don't have to dwell in it, but just lean into it and say, okay, I don't feel well. I'm going to lie down. I'm going to let my body do what my body does best. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm not going to fight with it. I'm going to practice some breath. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to be more mindful. There's so many little things we can do that add up to being a healthy partner to our bodies, instead of relying on doctors and medication, which are getting more extraordinary every day. I listen to medication commercials when I'm watching television, and I mute them because I don't listen to really TV that much, but definitely not the commercials. There are these long 60, 75-second commercials about helping your sneezing or your eczema, and the list of side effects includes death. It's like, what I mean. It's just become such an extraordinarily common part of our culture that we don't even think about it anymore. And that's where it gets scary for me, because so many people are unhealthy unnecessarily, and they don't understand that they are fully equipped at any time to take care of themselves.
Yeah, I feel like we should more and more connect to our grandparents and grandparents'
Hmm.
recipes of how they've been taking care of themselves back in the
Right.
days. And on that topic, I want to share one of my grandfather's secret of how he was taking care of himself when he were getting kind of like a flu. So he would get garlic and he would kind of like tear it on the feet or put it on the feet and put
Mm.
socks on top of it. And he would put a shirt when he go to bed, and overnight he would allow his body to sweat it out. And
Yeah.
so um, I and that's natural process of sweating during the night allow him to release all the toxins, release all the heat with the flu that he had not
Right.
before. So the next day he would wake up feeling significantly better, and if
Right.
necessary, he can repeat that the second night. But usually one night just make a huge difference, and I'm very grateful to my uh, grandfather to just know that that's something that I continue doing and practicing for myself. And if I even if I don't have a garlic, I just put socks and t-shirt, just something to sleep in to allow my body to sweat all the toxins out. And so I
Yeah.
do wake up feeling significantly better. Just as simple as that.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, and I love that. And I think we, you know, we're. I mean, if social media is an example of this at all, we're definitely being guided back to the old ways, back to the ways where people lived on the earth and with the earth instead of the way we visit it once in a while when we go on vacation, possibly on a hike. And I think this is a cyclical thing, just like anything. It has to come back, otherwise, we our own demise is on the horizon. And I don't mean to sound like it's an emergency, but it is an urgency. I think that the entire universe responds to how we conduct ourselves inside. It's not necessarily what we say; it's how we truly feel and what we feel about ourselves. And I just want to make sure people understand that uh, during this phase that I've been made aware of, this celestial, very powerful phase, that we all are experiencing these symptoms. And just allow yourself to feel the mild ones and don't worry about if something's wrong. And then if that progresses, I would never recommend anyone not go to the doctor. It's certainly not my point. But that there's so much to learn from our own bodies just by sitting with our bodies in surrender of what's happening and allowing us to really connect there and to remember what it feels like to be in the body. And that extends itself to every part of our lives. And we become more present in everything that we do and who we are. And that's when ascension really is uh, allowed through the body, through the chakras, and allowed to really transform us in ways that we couldn't think our way to. It's just extraordinary. And I'm glad we talked about this because I think it's relevant for most people, even though they may not understand it. So we are getting close to time to close. Is there anything you want to add before we maybe do a couple breaths for everybody?
Yeah, just one more thing I want to say, and it's always not might be not clear or confusing at the time when it's happening because we normally like overload it with tasks and chores and responsibilities, and it feels impossible to stop everything right now.
Yeah.
But you do what you gotta do. When time come, you just have to do that and honor your body and allow your body to process and to get back, because what's being released, it's what being over accumulated, because we never have time, we never give time to ourselves to do that. And so when the time comes, that just allow yourself um, to rest, at least to rest, to spend time in the nature, to drink water, to just be in the silence with no stimulations, to rebalance yourself, rejuvenate yourself, because what's going to happen after this, you're gonna come back, but you're not gonna come back where you were. You're gonna come back much higher, because you're going to be a lot more stronger, a lot more clear, and you're going to have a lot more energy. So you'll be able not to just catch up what you missed, but also you get a lot more greater and brighter idea, because you got a balanced, clear, and processed and ready to live more fulfilling life to the fullest.
That's beautiful, Igor. A perfect closing statement. I love that very much. Thank you for your insights, and I appreciate that so much, and for sharing what you're going through, which is a little different than what I'm going through, but very similar in a lot of ways. And this is why we
It is.
connected on this subject.
It
So I
is.
really appreciate you sharing that. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, it's
Hmm.
always it's awesome to find the similarities, because we all going through very similar things, only different levels depending of,
Right.
yeah. So, but it's always connected. It's awesome to find that, and to have this episode to share with community, to be just bringing some awareness to different topics, and inspirations as well for everybody else who's going through this transition, as we're going through this together. And so,
Right.
to close this episode, let's have just a few breaths. Take a deep breath into your belly, expand your belly fully, close your eyes, and exhale all the way. Now we're gonna have six, a lot faster breathing, more rhythmic. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And one more. Hold your breath at the top, deep inhale. And during this moment of holding your breath, allow that expansion, feeling of peace, serenity, feeling of connection, trust. At this moment, feel your heart, feel yourself even more. And exhale. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Sophia and Maya, for having this conversation.
My dear friend, thank you so much for that last little breath session, because I feel completely different, and I'm
Right.
so grateful, because what I've been going through has been hectic, and I appreciate that very much. So I hope you all enjoyed that, and I appreciate you all so much for joining us. We will be back again very soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Until next time, have a good day.
Bye bye.